Welcome everyone. Today we have a Path of Exile 1 league starter and also progression and also planner guide for the new league. As you can see behind me, I have opened a lot of tabs and also a lot of different research that I think will be helpful for myself and also for my audience or viewers to look into preparing to play Path of Exile 1. Now, before we start anything, I'm not a Path of Exile 1 expert. I have close to 1,000 hours on Path of Exile 1. And you can see here close to 1,000 hours on Path of Exile 1, but I don't think I'm an expert. So I'm relying on a lot of the content creators and also resource online. And here is a summary of what we do. So if you have seen Sushi's video, and Sushi is a very good content creator that shares a lot of insights to POE 1 and also POE 2. So here you can see there's a lot of tier lists of the great league starting build or great build for the new season of Path of Exile 1. To break things down even further, I have selected a number of guides to teach you guys about Atlas progression, how to progress in the end game of the Path of Exile 1, which can be a little overwhelming. So there's also a great video we can go through. And together with the looking into league starters. So how do you want to play the league starter from leveling and also to the progression of the end game? I have selected 3 different league starters for myself, and the league starter are selected in a way that they go with the same base class like the Marauder, including Berserkers or Chieftain, or they can be go with more, traditional like Deadeye, which is a great league starter. So to go from there, I have found a number of league starter run demonstrations, including full replays from different content creators, and also more replays from different content creators, and different guide in terms of progression for leveling from level 12, level 13, different atlas, and what are the recommendations to provide you guys with a full experience of experiencing the league starter, and also then how to transition to the end game. And to follow from that, we also have some of the end game builds that I want to try, including the armor stacker, and this is gonna be something of my end game goal. So we have the league starters that I want to go through with you guys, and then I have the mid game or the end game transition from mapping, and then the ultimate end game builds that I think will be very challenging but very rewarding if we can get my hands on it, and together with a number of resources that I want to go through with you guys. At the same time, I also want to introduce briefly about the currencies in Path of Exile 1 and which of the currencies I think will go up in value. So as you play the game, if you can get your hands on those currencies, or if you're holding onto those currencies, you may be making some good profits. So I want to share with you guys some of the insights of looking into early game currencies, late game currencies, and also a variety of builds you can be looking up yourself as the league progresses, as the new meta develops. So let's get into this video. Now, to start things off, there is definitely over 10 different great builds on the tier list coming from Sushi. So the build I have taken a liking is going to be the Slime Berserker, the Righteous Fire Chieftain, and also a variant of Deadeye. So if you haven't seen Sushi's video, I do recommend you have a look. So we're going to jump directly to the 3 builds I have chosen for myself. I haven't decided the final version, but it's close enough that I'm happy to start with this. So we're going to jump over to the Slam Berserker, and here we have Exile over here, the content creator we will be learning from. So you can see here he has provided us a guide, detailed guide video about this particular build. And I do recommend watching this because if you do plan to play the Slam Berserker, which is going to be a great league starter with some very good utility, mobility, and it can take you all the way to the end game. And it is also very durable and very fun to play. So this is definitely my first choice of looking into a league starter, into a farming build for the new season. Now, to follow from this, we'll try to be a little quicker on this video because I tend to go too long on the videos. To follow from this, the content creator Exile also provided a 7-hour video to show you guys how to show me as well, how to do the league starter runs. So starting with a Marauder over here, you can see that what to do in each of the acts and what are the juice, what are the choices of progression. So for those of you that want to be extra prepared for a league starter coming with a Slam Berserker, this is a great resource to keep in mind and also to follow through. At different level of progression, you can see how he was able to obtain a great two-hand weapon, a great chest piece, which allows him to go with 4, 5 links, and what are the progressions and what are the choices throughout the campaign. This is a 7-hour video, and I don't expect us to watch the entire 7 hours, but as you play the new season, you can have it running and follow the progress together. Now, at the same time, our content creator also provided the actual path of building step by step, I guess, item progression and also links of the gems, which is quite important. So you can see level 1 to 12, level 12 to 38, then Act 6 and forward. I'll transition all of those resources into the mobilistics guide in the links below, so you guys can have a better collection of resources, but you can see everything's provided. So this is why my first plan for a league starter is the Slam Berserker. And you can see the resource I have found for you guys. Now, should you, I guess maybe let's have a look at what does the Slam Berserker look like, and then let's follow to the next one so I don't overskip it too much. So over here you can see the Slam Berserker, as the name says it, you'll be jumping around, you'll be slamming around, and you're a Berserker. So there's a lot of utility, there's some really good durability, and the mobility is also very decent. So this is why this was the top of the tier list for this particular season. Not saying it's the best, but it's one of the recommended build. And the resource I just showed you guys will be available to have a look. The second one I have taken a liking is going to be this kind of AFK kind of Righteous Fire Chieftain. So let's jump over to the second build I want to talk about. The Righteous Fire Chieftain over here is a build that, as the name says it, you're basically burning enemies that is around you. And that gives you great ways of just, AFK farming pretty much. It is quite durable, it has decent mobility with shield charge, and you can see enemies are just dying around you. There's a number of great builds that you can follow with the Righteous Fire Chieftain, so I have found 2 of those for us. So coming from America over here, this is a AFK Righteous Fire Chieftain, which can be very good in terms of progressing the maps, in terms of leveling, but it does take a little bit of requirement to get going. So this one is more towards a transitional Righteous Fire Chieftain. So definitely have a look at this if you guys are interested. You can see this was a very good build back in 3.26, the previous season. Now, in order to provide us with more step-by-step guide, I have also found the second content creator with Fox over here, with the Righteous Fire Chieftain, who provided an entire gameplay demonstration of this as well. So for those of you that wants to learn how to progress the game exactly step-by-step coming from level 1 with Righteous Fire Chieftain, I recommend you follow Fox over here, and he provided a demonstration, which will come back very soon. And for those of you that want to transition mid-game, or I guess somewhat end-game, into the Righteous Fire Chieftain, this build is better until you have, I'm not saying it's better, I'm saying this build is also a variant until you have much higher levels and also better budget. So definitely compare those two. So if I was going to play the Righteous Fire Chieftain, which I'm still a little hesitating, so the Righteous Fire Chieftain, Fox over here does have a very good introduction, which usually for me, who is a bit new to Path of Exile 1, I didn't know that you can mute the starting items. So for those of you that want to be extra prepared for Righteous Fire Chieftain, definitely have a look at how he was able to start up as a witch and then collecting certain links of items and also even quest gems, so he can then start as a marauder after. So this is basically spending about 10 minutes on another character, so it gives you the necessary item to get the league started going for your other character. This is a very smart insight. So notice that after he started as a lich, he's going to come back over here and start as a marauder, and his marauder will have the necessary skill gems and also links to have a much better start. So for those of you that want to follow through the Righteous Fire Chieftain, I think this is also a really good point to start off with. So now that we had a look at the Righteous Fire Chieftain, the final one we have coming from Sushi is the Deadeye. Deadeye usually is the named like the best league starter for any season. And as expected, data over here, this is coming from Fopcom. It is one of the great data league start. So I don't think I need to touch too much onto the data because I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with the data. Now, on the topic of Deadeye, I do have my own Deadeye starter, own Deadeye build a while ago. For those of you that want to check it out, I'm not saying this is super updated, but some of the starting point of the Deadeye and also some of the progression is pretty good. So this is my Headhunter Deadeye in the past. It is a great farmer, a great league starter, of course, and still very, very good to consider looking to Deadeyes for those of you that want to have a look how the Deadeye works. And my graphics card wasn't handling all the FPS lags because of the buffs I was getting. So do keep in mind, if you're looking at the Lightning Deadeye over here, it is a little bit previous season, so I'm still recommending coming to Fopcom, of course, to follow from Fopcom to look at the Deadeye. So those are the 3 league starters I have picked out of the tier list. So we didn't go through all of the tier list because there's overwhelming amount of information, so I want to filter a little bit from my own preference. Now, why did I pick those 3 is that if I pick Berserk and Chieftain from the Marauder section, I can easily transition on between them. And for the Deadeye, of course, as the name given, Deadeye is just great league starter overall, so I don't want to miss that. Now, as we keep going, one thing I do want to bring us to our attention is this video coming from Face Place. So this is a great guide that teaches us how to do Atlas progression from tier 1 maps to all the way to the 4 Void Stones per Path of Exile 1 3.27. So often enough, even for myself who have close to 1000 hours, I forgot how to do Atlas progression. So this is a great video that will teach you guys after finishing the campaign, what's going to happen, how to unlock your first few maps, and then how those works and also connects. This is actually a very insightful video that is very concise, that shows you all the progression methods, or I guess a majority of the progression method, and also how things are done correctly, which can be very good. There's NPCs that can give you variable maps, there's different progression and also connections, and also the map drops at this progression mapping, and also what is recommended and how to get your Void Stones by killing different bosses. Now do keep in mind there's alternatives on killing those bosses, because some people also sell boss rounds, and if you do the boss rounds, you also get those Atlas points as well, the special Atlas Void points. But for those of you that is new to Path of Exile 1, or for those of you that need a bit of refreshment for Path of Exile 1, this is an amazing video to follow through for any build or any season to just learn the Atlas progression, because you will talk about bossing, you will talk about what are the fragments and how things will work, and here you can even get through to different pieces of the fragments which I didn't know about, and a lot of veiled items, certain special items, and also favoring different maps to be farming for certain rare jobs or even cards in the game can be very good to sustain your Atlas. So highly recommended to watch this video and to understand the progression, to help you guys to have a much smoother progression, and also to, I guess, to get the most out of the game after you have chosen the build. So now that we have talked about the build, including the league starters, including the transitional build, and also including how to follow the build step by step, I want to briefly talk about the armor stacking builds. So this is from Big Daddy, and one of my great friend Royal, if you guys have been following me, I've been learning a lot from him. Royal used to make a really good armor stacker. So for those of you that have chosen a starting build, you have chosen a number of, that's a Deadeye, or maybe Slams or Righteous Chieftain, or any build coming from those popular tier lists, and you progress through the game, the next thing to know is what is going to be an ultimate endgame build that you can be farming for. Usually armor stacker is very powerful but very expensive. Now, I do not recommend jumping right into the armor stacking build, and myself, I will be dedicating a lot of time to learn this build. So if you're following the channel, let's learn together of how to build armor stacker. Big Daddy over here have a lot of good information together with guides on how to play the armor stacker, and armor stacking for dummies is definitely a good way to start. So armor stacking can be very powerful. It can have some of the most powerful stats in the game, and I'll leave this as a teaser for you guys to have a look. So there's a different setups, different varieties of armor stacking, and most are focused on very powerful end game. So this is for the ultra end game. After a few weeks of the league starting, I will be going into armor stacker. So all the other builds starting, I'll be using those to farm resources and then collecting currencies, and then I want to transition into one of the strongest endgame build. So this is more of a teaser. And as I learn about this build myself personally, I will progress and also update with you guys. Of course, you can follow the content creator about this build as well. Now, on the topic of making currencies in Path of Exile 1, I have made 2 mirrors in the past in Path of Exile 1 in a week, and I'm not saying I'm the best currency farmer. I'm sure there's people that farms 1 mirror a day or multiple mirrors through gambling, which if you see Royal's videos in the past, he's gambled like hundreds of House of Mirror cards in the past, which is crazy. So I'm not saying I'm the best currency generator, but I will be teaching you guys how to make currencies in Path of Exile 1. So if you haven't heard of POE Ninja, it is a very popular collection site that shows you the graphs and also the trends of different currencies. And to give you guys a brief breakdown, there are some currencies that is going to be very popular in the early game. And this is where I plan to invest some of my early game chaos or even exalted orbs into maybe currencies like the Orb of Regret. For the first 1 to 2 weeks, now, don't quote me if I get this wrong, but 80-90% of the time, this is how the league starts with Path of Exile 1. There'll be times where Orb of Regret just skyrocketing in prices when there's a patch not change, there is build update, there's patch changes or nerfs or changes to certain build because they're broken in the start of the season. Our players just want to change the build and change their passive points. So in Path of Exile 2, you use gold to refund your skill passives. In Path of Exile 1, it is Orb of Regret that is very popular in the first few weeks. So this is where I plan to invest my initial capitals on. And there's a lot of other currencies, including fragments, including omens or tattoos or deviation cards that can be very valuable. And also oils and also incubators. So I want to be making videos to teach you guys how to invest in different currencies. Of course, the log and also Mirror of Calandra is very popular, together with a number of crafting materials and also different orbs that can be expensive and also very good as you progress through the game. So stay tuned for those build updates. At the same time, POE Ninja also have a collection of different builds that is great for any league. So for those of you that want to discover a great seasonal build or meta build, you can come over here to have a look. They also have information on Path of Exile 2, but it is not as updated, but still quite useful. So here's some additional information for you guys to consider as you play the game. Keeping a track of what is expensive also allows you to not undersell your items. Because with the new updated instant trade feature for Path of Exile 1, you don't want to underlist your items. So coming here to price check the price and also the best item for the past few days can be very good. So let's say if I was looking at a deviation card, and if I was like, oh, I wonder how much this card costs. Instead of price checking, sometimes you can come over here and look at the price of those items. Look at the House of Mirrors. There's also a lot of very expensive card that sells for 1 or plus divines. But this is when you can have a look and understand the value of your items and the reasons behind the value of those items. I'll keep you guys updated. So hopefully it's not a super long video. All the links I talk about include the content creators, the builds guide, the information, and also everything that's related will be summarized into the links below. So because I want to play the game and I haven't decided which build I want to go, I will be updating you guys tomorrow once I start the league and finally deciding my build to see how we want to start in the new season and to update you guys from there. And let me know in the comments, guys, which of the league starter are you planning to go with, which of the build you want to plan to go with, and how do you want to progress through the mid game all the way to the end game for POE 1. Now, hopefully you guys found today's video helpful. Again, a big thank you to everyone on YouTube, especially our supporters, and also those of you guys who's been supporting me on Patreon as well. And we do have a new feature on the Majestic YouTube channel. If you click onto this, you can become a member. Yes, I've added this just recently, and this will allow you to have early access to videos that is posted a few hours or even half a day earlier if you want to watch those videos a little early. But yes, this will cost money. So please be aware the membership will cost money. And if you do want to watch videos normally, those videos will still be available after 6 to 12 hours, normally on the time we post those videos. And I'll be aiming to post at least one Path of Exile video a day, and this will be including guides, tips, news update, and also the latest tricks that is discovered on both the English and also Chinese community to keep you guys updated. And if you like those videos, make sure you leave a nice comment and also leave a like for those videos.